Welcome to WJMS Radio, Radio Reimagined. You're listening to What About Me, where I, along with my guests, take a deep dive into those personal struggles and the internal dialogue that is stopping you from doing the very thing that would cause you to have even more success, more money, more relationship, and more abundance in your life. I'm Keisha Dixon, transformational wealth coach and creator of the Monetize Your Mind Success System and the Visibility Vixen Success System. And I am so excited today because I've brought on an awesome guest, and her name is Cheryl Guidry. And Cheryl is a relationship coach, professional speaker, women's healthcare expert with over 30 years experience. And after working with hundreds of women over the years and working through a divorce herself after a 21-year-old marriage, then marrying again, I love that, into a loving, committed, fun relationship, Cheryl's dedicated herself to be a mentor for single women over 50 who are seeking true love. And because of that, she founded Safe Dating Over 50, which is a community for women re-entering the dating scene after failed toxic relationships, divorce, or even being widowed. Her mission is to bring empowerment and to empower those people to first love themselves and then to take control of their love life, choosing relationships according to their truth and their terms. She teaches that you can find your soulmate regardless of your age through her programs that enrich your life and help you to embrace this phase of your life in confidence. Cheryl lives in Long Beach, and she lives with the man of her dreams. They have a blended family of 6 adult children, and that includes 2 sets of twin sons, 2 daughters, 1 granddaughter with 1 due any day, 6 grandsons, and 2 grand dogs. Oh, Cheryl, you got a lot going on there. And I am so glad that you're here today because I know you have an important message to share, and that message is, are you ready for this, listeners? Queen, get your life back. Exactly. Welcome, Cheryl.
Thank you for having me, Keisha.
Oh, my pleasure. I couldn't wait. With Queen, get your life back.
Life back.
Tell me more. So, okay. Working as a healthcare expert for over 30 years, and then what happens? How did this come about?
Well, as a women's health nurse practitioner, which was my trade, you see women from every walk of life. You see women, you help them through their health issues, and you hear their stories of, when it comes to relationships. And what I saw was that you hear the same stories over and over again. And I thought, this is really a problem, so I started researching it, talking to friends, and we need someone to address this issue because it's getting scary out here. Women are afraid to get back into dating again because of fear.
Well, what were some of the stories? What kind of
they're fearful of getting back into dating when they've been in long-term relationships like myself.
Yeah.
20 years and then they lose a spouse, or they're fearful getting back into dating when they have been divorced and it has been a toxic relationship. They're afraid of picking the same person again.
Yes.
And then some women have dated and have chosen the same person over and over, and they're wondering, how can I always pick the same person, or how can the same person always choose me? And so those are some of the issues that we have to look at. And, as a health professional, my thing is, STDs in our age group.
Yes.
Last decade, the STDs have gone up for us. And mainly that's because women in our age group, we're not concerned about getting pregnant anymore.
Right.
We're concerned about, just meeting the person of our dreams and living our life to the fullest. And so we're not thinking that at this age, we're still passing STDs to each other. And yes, it's still occurring. And
So
so
what kind of STDs are being passed on for women in our age group?
the biggest one right now is chlamydia.
Okay.
Chlamydia is very big. Gonorrhea is coming up, and even syphilis is on the rise again,
Oh my
which
goodness.
for a while we didn't see for a long time, but we're seeing more of that. And then we have those bacteria that are not classified as per se STDs, but they are sexually transmitted. One in particular is called ureaplasma, and this is a bacteria that's transmitted sexually and can cause problems down the line and can pass from one partner to another. So women just need to be aware of what's out there and how to protect themselves. So that's a part of my teaching also.
So we're no longer concerned about getting pregnant. Are there any other underlying issues that would cause a woman not to choose to protect herself?
Because we tend to trust easily. And you can look at a person outwardly. He could be handsome, he could be 6'5" or 2, and all that, dress nice, smell good, and you don't know what lies beneath. And also for women, if you've been in a previous relationship, especially a toxic relationship, you may not know what you're carrying from your previous relationship into a new relationship.
Oh, wow.
It's not always the man passing anything. It can be women that are passing that they don't know that they even have. So that's where we need to talk about, your health maintenance and well exams and keeping up on your health too, especially before you get into a new relationship.
That's what I was just thinking. If it's on the rise, that's just of reported cases. I can only imagine how many women and men are walking around and it's unreported.
Right. And, things have changed, a little in healthcare. So you're not going to the doctor every year for a pap smear anymore. Now for our age group, it's like every 5 years. And so some women don't go in but every 5 years. A lot can happen in 5 years. A lot can happen in a year. So it's very important to, at least pay attention to your body. Go in for like a well woman exam. And anything that stands out as different from something that you've noticed before, get in and let your provider take a check.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Well, so are many women over 50 dating now after a divorce or becoming widowed?
Oh, yes. Years ago, when women divorced or they got widowed, they stayed single.
Right.
They didn't date outwardly. They just were committed to staying single. But now we're healthier. We look better. Look back at your grandmothers and your great grandmothers and look at us now. A lot of us don't even look like we're in our 50s and 60s and 70s.
This is true.
They're not staying in marriages. Years ago, the rule was you stayed in a marriage whether you were happy or not. And now women know that, no, that's not so. I don't have to stay here if I'm not happy. And so they're out of relationships, and they may have 1 or 2 long-term relationships in a lifetime.
So what are the biggest challenges that women that you come across are finding when it comes to getting out there? Like, how do you first get out there and date? I remember years ago when I was going through my first divorce, I called my soon-to-be ex-husband, of all people, and asked him, how do you make friends? Like, how do I start dating again? And I don't remember the answer he gave me, but intuitively I know it was wrong. But how do you? You're maybe still hurt, carrying around some baggage from a previous relationship, a toxic relationship. How do you put yourself out there again?
Well, first, like I said, you need to take a time out. Take a time out,
Mhm.
especially if it's been that type of hurt that has occurred. Because what you don't want to do is to move forward into a new relationship when you have come out of a bad divorce
Yeah.
or a very toxic relationship where there's maybe been emotional abuse.
Yeah.
Or even if you are widowed, you still have feelings for that partner that is lost. So you're not really ready to move forward. You don't even know who you are after being in that long-term relationship. So you have to take time to regroup,
Mm-hmm.
find out who am I? You know, do I really want to date again?
Right.
And if I do, what is the work I need to do to get to a place where I can accept someone else into my life again
Yes. Now,
without bringing the baggage in?
so what does the timeout look like, or is it different for every person?
It's different for everyone. Some people recuperate faster than the others. Um, some kind of rebound into relationships, which is not good also because, once you're out of a relationship, many women will find that, especially when they've been in a long-term relationship, men are attracted to them. They look like they're coming from out the woodwork. And they say things that will make you feel good, but you're not looking for a feel good. You're looking for something that's long lasting.
Oh, you're going to have to say that again slowly to me because I don't understand.
Okay.
I'm not looking for feel good.
Most of the time, the words sound good, but most of the time you're not ready for a long-term relationship. So it's okay, to do some casual dating, going out to dinner, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't recommend jumping into a relationship newly out of a divorce or out of a failed.
I think that that's room for people to get really confused, right? The difference between dating and a relationship, or dating and courtship.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, dating, I can go on a date with you. We can go to the movies, go to dinner. Courtship, this is someone that you think you would like to be in a relationship, and so you're going through the courtship. You're going through those stages to work through to see if this is the partner that you want to be with. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times what happens is we don't take the time. We move through the stages too quickly, and now we're intimate, and all the red flags are popping up, and now your heart is invested, and you're like, okay, maybe I can change him. Maybe this will go away.
Right.
When if you took the time, you would have seen those red flags sooner. And so, and your heart would be healed to where you would be able to see those red flags popping up. So right. There just needs to be timing. The timing has to be right.
Now you just talked about moving through the stages too quickly. What are those stages?
Clearing your clutter, clearing out, what happened with the previous relationship, being okay with that, knowing even if it was a failed relationship or toxic relationship, you will be okay. You will move on and you can move forward. Okay. I think as previous relationships being a life lesson, we learn a lesson from each relationship we're in, even whether it's a love relationship or any type of relationship, you learn a lesson as you move through. So you learn how to go through that, look at what happened there, move on past that, and just kind of go inward and promote self-love,
Absolutely.
Love yourself.
Absolutely.
Especially at 50. What do you see when you look in the mirror? Are you happy with what you see in the mirror?
Yes.
You have to be happy with yourself.
Absolutely.
And love yourself.
And I love how you use the word clutter, because I think everybody's into, we have to declutter. We're going to do it the KonMari way or the just just do it. Or whatever. But people talk about clutter and they're usually talking about their physical surroundings, but you can actually declutter your emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that takes time. And like you said, it's different for everyone.
It is.
It can take 3 months. It could take a year. Doesn't mean you can't date during that time, but just knowing that you are working through a process during that time.
Are there different ways to work through that process?
Yes. One of the things that I found helpful for me was journaling.
Yes.
I'm very spiritual, so I turned to journaling every day. When I was really mad, as I was going through, about the divorce, I have a book. I could probably write a book. When I was
Probably have.
when I was having something great going on in my life, I journaled that. And what was funny, sometimes I would go back and read some things I wrote, and it's like, wow, you were deep. And, on that day, you were not having a good day at all that day, So I could see my journey through my journal, how I grew.
And I love what I'm hearing here, because you're not just putting the warm, fluffy, good feelings on the journal.
No.
You're bringing out the gunk.
Exactly. All of them. Some cuss words. Because you have to get that out. You have to get that out. Those are emotions that need to come out. And once you clear them, then you can move. You can move forward. If you get stuck.
Absolutely. Yeah, I always
stuck.
It's true. And when it's stuck, you become very stagnant. It's like a swamp. And
exactly.
Be a swamp.
Yes. And I became very sarcastic. I came from a sarcastic, toxic place the last of my marriage. And so I became that, I was very sarcastic and very non-trusting, so it was not good to look my way because I wasn't even having it. That was the attitude I had. I'm not even having it. Don't even look this way.
That makes for a fun date.
Let me talk about a date. So that took a lot of growing. Mm-hmm.
So after 21 years of marriage and you're in your divorce, you're journaling, how did you start dating again?
I went to a class reunion, my 25-year class reunion, and I saw a classmate there that I knew in school, and he was good looking, a football player, we never dated or anything. I thought he was cute from afar. And he jokes I had a youngster as a boyfriend, and I didn't look at him. I should have been with him. And him and his friend would be on the lockers when I would pass class, and and they would, you should be with Lewis Guidry, or Graham, was what they called him. And so anyway, I saw him at the 25-year reunion, and it's like, oh, he still looks good. Wow, And we just became friends. I was in the getting ready to get back into the nurse practitioner program, and I had gone through my divorce. So like I said, I was not really at a place to date, but I liked him as a friend. And so we start talking on my drives back and forth to Houston when I was going back and forth to school. And 3 years later, no, that's 5 years later, we had another reunion, the 30 year, and we had still been talking, and something was changing in the relationship, I could tell. And he decided he didn't want to be my friend. And so I was like, oh, okay, but you live in California, I live in Texas, and I'm a nurse practitioner in women's health,
Right.
So I was a little nervous there, but it was something about him, his personality. I had been around his family. His sisters are nurses. I knew his sister. So it was just something, my intuition. I have a very, very strong intuition.
Yes.
And I had the feeling everything was okay. I took things slow, but everything was great, And we ended up getting married.
So after 5 years of just talking, then you took things slow?
We started dating. Yes, I was scared. Yeah, so.
Wow, that's a remarkable story. It sounds like from the time you were in high school, he was prophesying this.
Yes.
And had his friends join
and he was divorced too. He married and divorced after I think 18 years. I think he was married. So this was just in the stars, I guess, for us. So, and it's been great. He's funny. We're opposites. He's extrovert. I'm an introvert. He is a comedian. I mean, you can't even, when I try to be mad at him, sometimes I can't even be mad because, I'm laughing, so. Not that it's struggle-free or relationships worth anything. We'll have struggles from now and then, but the struggles don't last long when they do, because we were connected as friends first. And that's very important. Very important.
That is very important. What do you recommend to women that you coach when they first start dating? Do you recommend that they keep their dates in a friend zone or not?
I do. Yeah. Because if you don't, you'll remove yourself from the social life and you'll just be in. Like I did. I went to work, home, working out, church. That was my schedule. Those things. And it was every day the same, except for church once or twice a week. But yeah, you'll get into the house and you won't want to go anywhere, because a lot of people didn't even know I was still in the area because they didn't even see me, so. And a young lady I spoke to recently told me the same thing. She said, I've become a hermit, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't trust the guys around me, so you don't want to go so in to where you're not social, but.
Start self-isolating.
Exactly.
Now, did you find that your friends and family were supportive, or do you find that your clients' friends and family are supportive of their newfound singleness and desire to date?
That's funny because my family was very supportive. My best friend from college who knew my ex, she saw the red flags back in college. And I'm like, really? So you didn't tell me back in college? Oh, I've been seeing that. I saw that in college. It's like, really? Really? Sometimes your family doesn't want to get involved, because if you stay with them, or they're afraid of their friendship being lost or something.
My family, my maiden name is Mann. In my family, we call ourselves the Mann clan. They get involved in everything. They're very clannish.
Sometimes you need that,
At the wedding, they'll let you know.
Sometimes you need that, and so, yeah, family can play a big part, and that's another thing. Getting out with your girlfriends, even if you don't date.
Yeah.
I took on dancing, this dance called Swing Out. It's kind of like a two-step.
Oh, nice.
I always wanted to do that, and my ex wasn't into that. So that's one of the first things I did to get myself out. It's like Tuesday night, swing out, even though I had to study. So I would go out with my girlfriend, we'd go swing out, dance, come home, and, so that kept me a little bit social,
Yes.
So form a tribe, whether one friend or a group of friends, someone that you can talk to, and will keep your secrets and help you heal,
Yes.
And then when you move from there, now you're ready for step 2. Now define your truth. What is it that you really want? Now that you're thinking about, maybe I'll date again. What is it that you want in a relationship? Most of us know what we don't want because we got a list long of what we don't want once we come out of a relationship that doesn't work. But what do you want? And then we talk about how long is your list? Because I had a long list, long list, and it's like, one of my friends said, really? So I had to, shorten the list, because once you've been hurt you have this long list that you're trying to avoid getting back into again, you know, and a lot of times it's unrealistic because we're not perfect. I'm not perfect.
Oh, I'm not either.
I'm not perfect. And so we all play a part in whatever relationship that breaks up. But so I had to, you know, I teach women to, you know, to look at their list and make sure it's a realistic list for them, you know, and then we can move on to boundaries. What boundaries do you want to find in your relationship?
That's important.
Yes. What are healthy boundaries? Are you going to have sex in a relationship? Is this just a friendship? Is this for marriage? You know, and whatever it is, you need to know what it is and stand by it and not let anyone deter you from what your goals are, you know, and that way you're choosing. You're not always being chosen. You're choosing what's right for you. You
and I would imagine for women coming out of a toxic relationship, boundaries, all kinds of boundaries are not an easy thing. I know for me, I tell people all the time, oh my God, I was a doormat. I had to go from doormat to diva. And this sometimes is a daily dilemma.
I like that, doormat to diva. I like that.
In one of my programs. But I had to go from doormat to diva. And interestingly enough, I could see how it could be about sex, but it wasn't always about sex. It was just about my yes, or respecting my time, or even forget putting myself first. That wasn't going to happen in my marriage, but not consistently putting myself dead last made me feel guilty. So how do you go from this toxic mindset, right? A toxic relationship, which leads to a toxic mindset, which leads to feelings of, or maybe you entered the marriage with, in the relationship with feelings of being less than.
That's why we have to work through to see what are those characteristics that may be attracting that same narcissistic person to you.
Right.
Because when you have some of those characteristics of being a doormat, of seeming like you're desperate for your next relationship, it is like a red flashing light over your head. I asked a man at a dating function I went to recently, and he said, yeah, they stand out. Women like that stand out, and so that makes them more vulnerable because men can look at you and see that you're wanting a relationship really bad, no matter what. They can pick up on that. So you have to look at some of those characteristics, those unhealthy characteristics that will lead you into another toxic relationship, because that's what we're trying to cut it, leave it right here and not move forward out that again in your life, and choose someone that chooses you for who you are and not trying to take advantage of you.
I think that's one of the reasons that it's so incredibly important that if you're getting out of a toxic relationship, that you are working with a coach.
Oh, yes.
Going into another relationship, because it's interesting how comfortable we can get in feeling the comfortability of not experiencing change. You know what it feels like for a man to tell you he loves you and treat you anything but. That, interestingly enough, because it feels familiar, is comfortable.
Exactly.
But to experience the other side and not know, like, what does that look like? I don't know. What would that look like? A healthy, fun, balanced relationship. How would you know without the eyes of someone like you?
It's very hard. It's very hard, especially if you've been in that place and if you've had several relationships, because like you said, it looks normal to you. Right. And you need an objective eye looking in, and through your journaling and writing, you'd be surprised what you will figure out for yourself just seeing what you're writing on paper.
Yes.
And so we get a financial advisor for our finances. We have physicians for our health. And so, just like with your relationships, when you're struggling and you want and you deserve a great relationship, you need a relationship coach.
Absolutely. So how do you meet with clients, and how often do you meet with your clients?
Right now, I have a 12-week program. It's Dating by Design.
Oh, I like that.
Dating by Design. This is a personalized one-on-one coaching program that is personalized for you. So after we have our interview and we see where you've come from, what your goals are as far as relationships, then we customize a blueprint just for you. So no two blueprints are the same.
I love that. A dating blueprint?
Yes. Everyone has a blueprint for them.
Wow.
That's personalized for each individual because we're not the same. You know, what worked for me won't work for you. And so through coaching, we can together collaborate and come up with a plan that works for you to get you to where you can be happy again, because the goal is to be happy and enjoy. There's nothing like a healthy relationship, you know, where you feel good when you get up in the morning, you know, you're excited. No matter what's going on in your life, you know, you have this one person that has your back, you know, no matter what, you know, and it's just an indescribable feeling to have, you know, and I want everybody to have that, you know, no matter how old you are.
Absolutely. Did some people discover that, I fell so much in love with myself, I'm good, I don't need anyone else?
Well, you know, if you're happily single, you know, that's okay. This is not saying that everyone has to have a partner and be in a relationship. This program is mainly for women who are over 50, who are single, and want and desire to have that soulmate in their life, want to have a long-lasting, committed relationship.
Yeah.
So if you're happily single, more power to you. More power.
Yeah, but you know what? And right now I'm feeling like I'm very happily single. That could change. I don't know. But I do believe that when you come out of a toxic relationship or you're coming out of a long-term marriage and as a widow, it's important to see a relationship coach just to even help get you back in relationship with self.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And this would be beneficial because, like I said, it goes through those stages to take you from where you've been and show you so that you're not happily single because you're harboring
deep resentment.
Yes.
Why did those words just suddenly bubble up?
Do we need to get on a call, Keisha?
I need to get on a call. I'll take the mic out. I need to get on a call. That definitely came up, deep resentment. So I did want to touch upon something. Well, you were telling us Dating by Design, that's your one-to-one coaching program. Is there another way that people work with you?
In a group. Some women prefer to work in a group setting, you know, when you're with girlfriends or new friends, like a tribe, and you get to discussing what has happened in your life, you know, we could get to going, you know. So when we're going through these same steps, but we're engaging with a group, then you see that you're not the only one that has gone through that before.
Yeah.
And sometimes just seems that someone else has gone through what you have been through. It's like, oh, wow, I thought I was the only one that this happened to, you know, like I did when I was going through my divorce. It's like, I went through this girl, that's happened to me too. It's the same thing, you know, so it helps you to heal also because you know, okay, this is not just me, you know, this is something that happens to others. And you can hear how other people are getting through and you can share within an intimate, confidential group.
Yeah.
And build new friends, you know. If you don't have a close-knit friends, who doesn't need more girlfriends?
I know, I do.
Okay.
I could never have enough.
So you can build a new tribe of girlfriends. You know, get to traveling, you know, because we're going to be doing retreats pretty soon. So
oh, nice.
Now, together.
when you're moderating, I know this is very nuanced as the coach. When you're moderating a group of women who have gone through a thing and are come out the other side, how do you keep it from becoming a girl please? I know, fast.
Keeping it online on task, because each week we have a task.
Yeah.
You know, there will be time at the end of the last few minutes of the call that we have input, you know.
Yeah.
But we keep it on task so that we can get through, because we could talk all night, you know, on one topic.
Right.
And they have homework that where they self-reflect on what we're going to discuss for that day, that they get to share in the beginning, and then we go into the lecture, you know, or teaching for that day.
Very nice. And then do you, is part of the homework that they have to go out and play and have fun?
Toward the end, once we get toward the last few modules, yes. Test the water is one of the modules, test the water. So you want to get out and start testing what we're teaching, you know, and see how it's working for you. What a better way to test and then have a group to come back to and share what happened and get advice, you know. So it's safe confines to get your feet wet again.
Absolutely. I know you have a blended family, and a lot of people in their 50s and above coming out of a relationship come out of relationships with children.
Right.
How does that work while you're dating?
For me, I still had a teenager at home. And so dating within the home was not an option. I did not want to have anyone coming in dating when I had a son in home. But so I dated outside the home, you know. My husband came in from California. We dated away from the home. But I think you should take it slow, and you shouldn't be, especially if you're not sure that's the person you're going to end up with. You don't want to expose your children, especially if you have young teenagers. You don't expose your children to every relationship, especially if it may not last. You have to be safe these days.
Especially since you already exposed them to the toxic one you just got.
Exactly.
Speaking for myself. Speaking for myself.
So you should take that slow.
I agree. I absolutely agree. How can listeners follow you, Cheryl?
They can follow me. I have a closed group, Cheryl at safedatingover50.com on Facebook. And they can also reach me by going to www.safedatingover50.com and signing up for just a 4-minute talk or a consult.
Nice.
And to see if the programs is something that will work for them. And I know it will. I know it will.
It sounds like it will. And I know, because I saw some pre-programmed notes, that you have a webinar series coming up. Can you tell us?
I do. And this is like someone that just want to know, you know, how to date after 50. So it's kind of like an intro to the program. If you're trying to decide whether you want to do the program, it tells you the steps to dating after 50, things you should look at, but it's not as in-depth as the programs are. So it's like a 60-minute program. And then those that sign up for the webinar, whatever they, when they purchase a program, then that money will be applied to the program if they'd like, you know, if they sign up for the 12-week program.
So when is the webinar?
The webinar, I'm going to roll it out in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. And
but
so
for your audience, if they want to sign up, they can send a email, go to the email and send the email and set up for the call, and we can talk about the programs. And
okay, so I'm pulling out my calendar. So to all the listeners, and I'm talking to myself too, the webinar's coming out in 2 weeks. So if you're planning on going on a date, let's see, Oh, I'm just pulling out my calendar. If you're planning on going on a date anytime after Friday, September 13th, you want to be on the webinar.
Exactly. Get on.
I don't know if you were listening carefully, but my ears perked up in the beginning of the show when Cheryl was talking about STDs and syphilis and gonorrhea and something I never heard of, plasma,
ureaplasma. Uh-huh.
yeah, my ears perked up, and I was feeling all the yuck. And
yeah.
So get on the webinar. And I'm sure it's not just about safe dating in terms of if you're going to
no. It's about online dating. You know, a lot of people, are afraid of online dating, and there's a lot of things you have to be aware of when you're putting up a profile. How to dress appropriately, how your profile should look, what you should say in a profile, how much you disclose, when do I meet, that type of thing. So
yeah, I'm one of those people. I'm definitely afraid of online dating. Like I years ago, I want to say over a decade ago, I had dabbled with, I don't know if it was eHarmony or Match.com, and I have someone who stalks me to this day on social media. He doesn't like show up at the house,
right.
But on social media to this day with fake profile, it's insane.
Yeah. So we talk about all that image, your image, what to wear, because we look good at 50 and 60 and 70, but you have to leave a little bit to the imagination sometimes when you're online. So we talk about that too. Appropriate dress, that everything. We cover the gamut.
What are some of the biggest concerns that you see when women start to date over 50? It was something just popped to mind. I don't know why it came up to mind.
Will I be rejected? Am I worthy of dating again? Will I be chosen? Yes, you will be chosen. You will choose. You don't have to be chosen. You can choose.
I like that. That's where my thought process was going. Will I be chosen? Because the sea is a little bloodied, right? There are a lot of singles out there. A lot of them are much younger than our people in the 50s and 60s.
That's okay.
But tell us that you will choose. I love that.
You'll be able to choose the relationships that work for you. You don't have to always wait to be chosen. And that's part of the thing we're waiting to be chosen. You choose.
Waiting your turn, just being a good little girl.
You choose.
So what does that look like when you choose?
When you choose, that means having a good body image. You're confident. When you walk in a room, you're noticed. When you're happy, people notice. So people will come up to you when you're happy.
Absolutely.
Men like women that are happy. They don't want anyone that looks depressed. Well, it depends on their, what their goal is. But if you look happy, you're confident, you will attract, people into your life that are worthy. You always hear there's not enough good men out there. Or Cheryl, find me someone like Lewis. There's men out there like that. You just have to take your time. And some people say, oh, the 90-day rule, there's no timing. We have to get past thinking there's a certain time you have to seek someone out or be in a relationship. So take your time, enjoy dating, enjoy the ride, enjoy it. And when you do that, when you take it slow, then things develop, friendships develop. Or if they don't, and you see red flags, then you're not invested. Your heart isn't invested, and you move on.
Yeah,
we had that right after 50. We had a right to move on.
That's right. What would you say to the woman who goes on a date, possibly 2 dates, and then goes out and buys the latest issue of Bridal Magazine?
Oh,
it happens. Ask me how I know.
Slow down. Slow your roll.
But it does happen.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So, it's too quick. That's too quick. You can look at the dresses for later, but not in a new relationship. that quickly. Yeah.
So what?
And I have to say this: there are people that are listening that may have been in a relationship. They met someone, and 1 month later they married, and they're happily married. More power to you, but it doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, take your time.
Yeah, my first marriage, from proposal to marriage, it was probably 5, maybe 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that time frame was pushed by me because I kept thinking he was going to change his mind, because I really did not feel worthy of the toxic love
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that was presented. And it really, I definitely participated in that vicious cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't move the timeline fast enough. Like, oh, we got to hurry. Let's get married. Let's do this. Oh, yuck.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm confident you probably would not do that again.
Oh, very confident I wouldn't. Mm-hmm. Now, but I can see myself going to the opposite extreme and just not.
And not.
I need to call you and just not dating again.
And we don't want that for you either. You deserve.
No, well, I don't know. We'll see. But I'll have to call you and find out.
Mm-hmm.
Listeners, you'll have to follow and find out.
Yes.
I can be Cheryl's next success story.
Yeah.
Cheryl, the name of this show, as you know, is What About Me? And each episode, we really seek to empower listeners to change the internal dialogue, like you're changing mine. So I ask all of my guests to share with us 3 to 5 things that make you absolutely phenomenal. So.
Right.
So can you share with us 3 to 5 things that make you absolutely phenomenal?
Oh my goodness. I am. Yes, I am fun loving. I love people. I'm passionate about what I do. I love to travel. I'm a people person. And I probably went over 5.
That's 5.
Okay. Okay.
And those are 5 amazing things. And I can tell that you are passionate about what you do. It absolutely shows. Is there anything else you'd like our listeners to know today?
Yes, that if you're unsure whether relationship coaching is for you, I have placed a 4-minute call on my calendar where you can just go to my website and get on my calendar for 4 minutes.
4 minutes. I love it.
You've got 4 minutes in your day, 4 minutes to find out if this is your year, to find your soulmate.
I love that, because that, you know what? I know for myself, and I can speak for a few ladies, I believe, that, you know what, you kind of know in 4 minutes if something's for you or not.
That's it. 4 minutes.
I love that. I'm going to give you a 4-minute call.
That's right. Get on that calendar, www.safedating.com.
www.safedatingover50.com. safedatingover50.com. Amazing.
Get on the calendar for your 4 minutes.
Amazing. Cheryl, thank you so much. This was a fun conversation.
Oh, yes, it was.
You definitely have me thinking.
It's beautiful to be alone.
I'm certainly, listen, I'm all about happiness.
There you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I'm all about happiness, and thank you for that.
You're
and
welcome.
Thank you, listeners, for listening to this week's broadcast of What About Me. It's my desire that you receive the clarity and the framework that you needed for a successful week. Join us each and every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on WJMSradio.com, Radio Reimagined, as we continue to shine the light of consciousness on those things that are holding you back from living the life of your dreams. I'm Keisha Dixon, transformational wealth coach, creator of the Monetize Your Mind Success System and the Visibility Vixen Success System, and I guide women to shatter their internal glass ceiling as they double their income doing what they love. Have a great weekend, a great week, everyone. Bye.